G'day, it's Andy, your yoga mate, and welcome back to the Veteran Yoga Project. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and if you're back, thank you so much for coming back and joining me with today's practice. So you'll see that I'm in tradie clothes today, the old high-vis, which is a generic brand, you know, the tradie pants. So one of the things that I do, well, there's a few hats that I wear besides running the charity and being a yoga teacher, is doing work, doing some labouring or as a tradesman's hand during the week. Now this type of work is usually very, very physically demanding, and knowing that I've had some injuries from my military service, or there might be some aches and cracks or some big days, I like to be able to warm up my body, especially when I don't have too much time to do a full flow in the morning. Alright, so today I'll be taking you through what I will do in that 5 to 10 minutes before heading out the door, and I've already done my morning gratitude process, so that's a little bit of breathing. So today's flow is going to be more about rough and ready, getting ready for work, loosening up the body and making sure that I'm minimizing the risk of injury, as well as setting myself up for the day, and also having done a yoga practice. So the beauty about yoga is, if we're talking about just the postures, is you can do as little or as long a session, and it's about the consistency there, which I'm trying to do every single day, whether it's breathing, some other element of yoga, or like what we're doing today, the 5 to 10 minutes of the morning flow. So let's hook in and get straight into it. Let's begin, I forget, you may need some props such as your strap or your blocks. So depending on your mobility for the day, how you're feeling, please feel free to use them. I'll cue you in whether you may need to use it or not. And also with tradie work, you know, there's a lot of bending, there's a lot of lifting, there's a lot of reaching, using things like the shoulders, the lower back, and then also the hip flexors and our ankles. So we're going to do a little bit of a warm-up that targets each one of those today. Let's hook in by starting laying on the floor. Alright, the beauty about this is when we're waking the body up first thing in the morning, if we're not going to be doing a big flow, it's about just loosening up. So here first, what I'll do is take a couple of breaths on my back, spreading the shoulders, but not going back to bed, right? And getting comfortable, letting the ground, feeling my back on the ground and every part of my ground, grounding myself. So from here, I'll take 3 big belly breaths, right? Ideally through the nose. You can do it through the mouth if that serves you better today. Right, so let's just take 3 breaths here. 3, 2, 1. So we've arrived on the mat. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to try and lower and massage my my lower back. All right, and then I'll pull my knees up towards me, and then gently just put my hands on my knees and start off in slow circles one way. I'll do about 3 to 5 rotations one way, and then the other way as well. And as I'm talking here, I invite you to start connecting your breath to these movements. Right? Doesn't need to be too linked, but at least now we're starting to connect the breaths. Right? So, and then from here, legs back down, arms out, and we're going to do some windshield wipers with our legs to warm up the lower back. So this is all just nice and flex at the moment. Alright, so we're warming up the body, ready for the day. So we're going to inhale to set and exhale, dropping the knees to the right. Alright, we could also look to the left if that's going to serve us better, but we could also just keep our head looking up, and then the same, breathe in and then out, looking the other way if we're looking, and I'm going to be doing that, and we're going to do this 3 more times each side. 1, 2, left side, inhale, 3. Now with windshield wipers, we'll meet back in the middle, and then we're going to warm up the hips a little bit again by pulling our knees up, alright, getting our hands and then just putting them on our shins, and we're just going to open up our hip joints. We're going to sort of like going into happy baby. So with our legs nice and loose, alright, we're going to be taking circles with our legs. So pull them up and then we're going to go out. So first of all is just opening this up. It's like a modified happy baby where we're just lubricating our hip sockets. Alright, so a lot of the time when we're doing tradie work, you're bending down or you're kneeling. You know, if you're working in kitchens, you're always kneeling. If you're a plumber, you're in small spaces, you're kneeling or you're reaching over. You know, a lot of the time you might be, you know, if you're working in construction, you're stepping over a few things, and you know, that hip mobility really helps. So we're just circling around, and again, as I'm talking, you're linking your breath to your movements. We've changed the directions now. Alright, so we've warmed up the legs a little bit. And then let's maybe do a couple of bridges here where we might be just activating our glutes as well as working our core a little bit. So from here, feet hip width apart, like we're going to be doing a glute bridge, right? Hands down, and we're just going to activate our midsection here. So we're going to do 3 to 5 of these. We're going to go for 5. Right, so inhale to set, and exhale. We're going to tuck in our pelvis and then push up from our heels. Right, so that's 1. And then coming down the same way, and then warming up the spine. So this is all about warming up the spine as well. That's 2, 3, 4, last one, 5. Alright, we're coming back down now. We're going to do a rock and roll. We're going to be coming up to all 4s. So we're just going to, again, we're still loosening up that spine, but it's just nice to be able to, after, like, you know, you're not in bed, to come up and come to your knees. So if that doesn't work for you, you can always come up by putting your feet on the side and then making your way up to a tabletop. So from here, as always, hands splayed, hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, and we're going to be warming up. Now, some of the things there, we're grabbing a lot as well when we're doing some work as, like, you know, in labouring or as a tradie, right? So let's warm up our wrists a little bit and our toes where we might be bending over. So this might help. So what we're going to start off with today, all right, this might work for you, right, is turning our hands back towards our knees, and we're tucking our toes, and we're just rolling backwards and forwards. We're going to do this 5 times. Right, stretching out our forearms as well as our toes and our fingers. Right, and then we could also just change the direction as well, right, of our wrists. So don't put all the weights on the wrists, right? It's just rolling them, and we're just waking up our joints. Right, same. Let's go now. Hands splayed again, and then onto our toes, and then we might come onto our toes and then lift up a little bit. Alright, toes lift up. Toes lift up. Beautiful. Alright, I'm a big fan of cat-cow. That's always good to be able to help warm up the spine. So what I'll do is I'll always sort of do a few cat-cows as well. So let's start off just doing 3 of those. We're going to inhale, we're going to look up, we're going to dip the chest, and then, dip the belly, and then present the chest out like we're receiving a medal. Right, you can have your toes tucked or not, and then we're going to breathe out, and then we're going to be pushing up our spine towards the ceiling. So inhale, dip, exhale, few cat-cows, You can start to accentuate as you want. So let's just do a couple more in your own time. All right, and you might choose to also take some circles just to start warming up the spine, right, and then changing direction around. So this one I'm cueing less, but it's about just seeing what I'm doing as I talk you through this, because we're warming up and we've only got a few minutes before heading out the door to work. All right, so let's just lengthen our spine a little bit by doing a few. So if we're going to take our hands forward in that in our tabletop, and we're just going to come down. Actually, we're going to come down to child's pose here and start to stretch out our shoulders and lengthen our lower back. So we're going to come up again, similar to like the cow as well, right? Looking forward, just reaching forward that little bit more, and then bending our elbows and pushing our hands forward, and then pushing our tailbone back and lengthening that back spine there. So we're going to do this 2 more times. Exhale, pushing back, and then reaching forward and back. All right, one last time. Looking forward and then pushing forward. All right, now coming back up to tabletop. The next one here is what we call threading the needle. All right, so all this time you can just use that. Feel free to sort of be loose. All right, we're going to thread the needle. All right, with me. Okay, so we're going to start off with our left arm. So we're going to breathe in. We're going to lift our hands up and look towards the sky, and breathe out as we thread our hand through, and then place our shoulder on the ground, and then use our right hand as a stability platform here, peeling open that shoulder. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhale, exhaling. Oh, there was a crack there again. Right, so it stretches out the shoulders as well as that lower back. Alright, so we're going to inhale now and come back down to normal, and we're going to do the other one. Right hand, 3, 2, 1. Well, even though we are doing this fast, we're not compromising the technique, which is the main thing. And like we said before, we don't want to be getting into any pain or forcing anything. So that's that bit. And this is one of my favorite ones, right? So come down now to your tummy, and we're going to do this 3 times. Right, it's called the lying scorpion. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to be placing our head down, feet flat. And with our right hand, I'm going to change direction to the other side. With the right hand is we're going to place it out in the T, right? And we are going to, actually, I'm going to shove it this way so we can see. Let's start with the left hand so we can see for the demonstration. Head's down, left arm's out. All we're doing is now using our right hand to rotate over with our leg, and we could come over and then place our leg down like this, right, as a kickstand. Right, lying scorpion. It's great to stretch out the chest as well as open up the hips, right? So you can even just have your leg coming back here, and that helps sort of, we're getting into a twist and opening up the hips as well as stretching the lower back. Let's do that for the other side now. All right, so I'm going to have my back to you just for ease of the actual flow, and we're going to exhale, push against the hand now, and then put the leg down as a leg stand. Alright, so we're not holding it for too long. Left hand side now. And we're going to do this 2 more times on each side. I always find that this little warm up here is so beneficial for the day. Helps warm me up. Because usually by the time you get onto site, it's full on. There's deliveries, there's stuff happening, you know, trying to get things done before, you know, you can use power tools, all those little things. Say we're in the garden, you before the power tools can be used, you're already bending over, you're doing some weeding, you're reaching, you're pruning. So this is a great way to be able to do it. All right, so now we're going to be just stretching. Last bit is stretching the hip flexors as well as our hamstrings. All right, so this one here, let's come to a lunge or low lunge, Anjayasana. All right, so what we're going to do now is probably we'll incorporate a twist into today's one. So from here, left foot forward, hips square. We're facing the short edge of the mat, shoulders square. So from here, we're going to come, this is the arms up, breathe in, look at your hands. All right, so this is low lunge, and then we're going to breathe out. We're going to lean back a little bit or dip our chest down, right, belly to thigh, and then we're going to come back up again. Stretching our hip flexor as well as our hamstring on the back. Geez, I've had a mental blank trying to do all this talking and moving at the same time. Inhale, looking towards the fingers, and exhaling. All right, one more time each side. All right, so this actually might be taking a little bit longer, so let's swap sides. Then that 5 to 10 minutes, but this is about, you know, I'm trying to talk you guys through it, and then usually I'd just be doing this bang, 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 right? But without in compromising the integrity of the posture, all right? So, but not holding too long, just loosening up those muscles, giving them a good lubrication before we really hit out for the day. Last one, inhale, reach forward, and then back to half splits. All right, last one there. Boom. And let's make our way to standing, and then from here I might do just a couple of head rolls. All right, last bit to one way. All right, the other way. I might grab the side of my head and do some yes no's. All right, just warming up the side of the neck. What I found is that when you start lifting, if you're doing some you know, unboxing of goods and everything like that, and you start lifting heavy objects, sometimes you can sort of, it feels like, you know, you're really stretching that side of the neck out. All right, and then we're closing off now by reaching up, looking towards the hands, bringing the hands to prayer, and coming down. All right, dipping our head with gratitude. Thank you so much for joining me today in this short but sweet practice to be able to warm up our bodies for a day on the tools. All right, namaste.